Yo guys, I've got a spark which I'm going to use to ignite the fire for a brand new gameplay orientated series here on the channel. Yes, we're going to be making an entirety of a series out of this, and it's going to have a lot more gloriousness to it than, what first meets the eye, because whilst we're starting here at the player 1, please put a card on the portal of power screen. From here on out, things are going to get a lot more exciting than just this, you could go as far to saying. So yes, this is definitely quite the start to a gameplay series of all things, seeing this screen rather than a main menu or anything of that jazz. But that's because this series is known as Soul Seekers. Basically meaning that all 32 of the original Skylanders are locked out. I cannot use them due to them being darkened out on the display you can see to the top right corner of the screen, mind you. But I can unlock these faithful 32 characters by acquiring their soul gems. So once a soul gem for a particular scan has been found, they will brighten up on the display in the top right. However, just like in a Locke, if a scan is defeated in battle, they are classed as dead and cannot be used again. And I must swap out for a scanner corresponding to the current element of the area at hand, if that is, if I have a representative to do so, because it's going to take me a while to unlock all of the elements, since soul gems for certain scanners in certain levels are later, much later in the game. In fact, we're not going to see our very first magic scanner until Crawling Catacombs, for example. So that begs the question, how am I possibly supposed to even start this series when I haven't even collected my first soul gem as of yet? Well, what I've done is I've gotten up to a particular point within the Sky Schooner docks whilst completing as few objectives as possible, mind you, so that now I can place onto the portal the character who's going to be acquiring our very first soul gem of the Soul Seeker series, Sonic Boom. The soul gem's right there. So, we've basically unlocked her within nanoseconds of placing her on the portal, mind you. It's close enough for me. But yes, I brought up objectives earlier. The objectives are, before we can even defeat Chaos with our only faithful 32 Skylanders, mind you, we must first 100% every single level, including the Adventure Pack levels, which you can see previewed in Sonic Boom's Soul Gem preview before you. You saw the Dragon's Peak right there, very interesting way to kick this all off, I suppose. But yes, everything is going to be 100%ed before we even think about tackling Lair of Chaos and the pursuing final boss fight in the video game. But anyway, gates like these that are, Earth-based, well, we can't swap out for an Earth scanner yet because we haven't found any of the soul gems of any of the scanners of that particular element. And again, this is Soul Seekers. Once we've seeked out the soul gems, we shall unlock the locked characters. But for now, Sonic Boom is our only unlocked characters, so we need to finish the rest of this level playing a Sonic Boom. But yes, because I had to play through these first 3 levels in order to get to this first soul gem, which is the first soul gem you get in the game without the need of alternate elements. So I had to play up to this point in the game whilst completing as few objectives as possible, so we can go back to those earlier levels once we have more elemental characters unlocked even, so that then we can finally, beat said levels to 100%. So in other words, I didn't speedrun the levels, I defeated as few enemies as possible to avoid for speedrunning and enemy goal objectives, and we'll go back to those levels in future to complete said objectives. Anyway, we now have some evil Duro to be dealing with here at the Fortress Tower. Yeah, this might seem like a bit of a bizarre, chaotic introduction, but how better of a way is there to possibly introduce us to the world of Soul Seekers than with this very intro you see before you, am I right? So yeah, this Sonic Boom is now on the Screeching path, just because I felt like it, I guess. So yeah, we can charge up our Screeches, or our babies could just handle that evil trophy right there. But boom, just like that, that guy's taken down, and we can actually head back to get the legendary treasure back here. So yes, let's be doing that. And actually, whilst we're at it, in this level, ironically enough, at the very beginning, you're taught about accessing scanner stats by pressing this particular button on the Xbox controller. Well, from here we can take ownership of Sonic Boom. So yes, we do want to add the Skylander to our collection. That gives us a heroic challenge, as well as it will add her to the roster of caricatures in the main menu, which we're not going to access right now. We're too busy accessing the wild runners right now is what we're doing. Pretty hype stuff if you were to ask me. Then again, of course, I'll say that this is my series we're talking about here. But yes, this is a brand new series which shall be not exactly premiering. This first episode will of course be premiering because it's introducing something new, so what more glorious way is there to introduce something new than with a premiere in of itself. But these new episodes will, however, be airing and coming out for the first time every single Thursday and Monday. However, if you just so want to get early access to these videos, mind you, you can do so by becoming a channel member of Blazing Knight or higher, since those members will be receiving these episodes 2 days early. So the Thursday episodes you will be receiving on Tuesdays, and then the Monday episodes you will be receiving on Saturdays. So yes, just to reiterate, for public, all of these videos will go live free of charge. Just want to emphasise all that as I proceed to lose to all of the heavier airships. I'm at 38 health, that's not all that good. But yes, as I continue to reiterate everything, yes, nothing will change. Everyone will still get complete and total free access to these videos eventually. However, for becoming a member, one of your perks will be to gain early access to these videos on Tuesdays and Saturdays. However, for everyone else, they will come out on Mondays and Thursdays. With that being said, we now have the legendary epicness of this propeller right here. I mean, it's golden, so how could it be anything other than legendary epicness? Am I right? But yeah, we can tackle these levels in basically whatever order we wish. Well, except for the fact that, you know, from here we have to go from 3 through chapter 22 in a linear order. However, when it comes to revisiting levels, that we can do in a non-linear fashion, and we can also throw in the adventure packs whenever we please. And also these cutscenes, whenever we can skip them, we will be skipping them. After all, why watch these cutscenes over and over again? If you really wanted for cinematic flair, you could go back to the Igniter server run for that. And luckily for me, Igniter is actually a Skylander that you unlock rather early on, so I won't be locked out from using my favourite Skylander for all too long, since Igniter's Soul Gem is found within none other than the Dark Water Cove, the only level in this game to have the name of an element within the level name in it of itself. In fact, technically it has 2 elemental names in the name of that level, Dark and Water, but Dark of course was an element, more specifically the name of an element that was not introduced until Trap Team 3 years after this game first came out, mind you. But yeah, I find it funny, this game is all about the elements, its entire story is orientated around it, and yet only one level in the entirety of this game has the name of an element within the name of the level itself. With that all being said, it's time for us to talk to Persephone. Not that it matters much, because Sonic Boom over here is very much maxed out. But when it comes to the Stormy Stronghold, we are just going to speedrun straight through it. We can't unlock all of the elemental gates. We can unlock one of them, since one of them is air orientated, just like Sonic Boom itself. But the other one is dedicated to the life element, so due to the fact that we can't collect all 100% of the collectibles, we might as well first of all go back to Persephone, because apparently we need to click yes on whether we want to upgrade or whatnot, even though it's just going to give us that message. So now with that confusion all put to a side, finish off the propeller, and I can continue explaining that we're just going to speed run through Stormy Stronghold and then return back to this level once we have a life scanner, because then we can go through the level slowly, getting 100% of the collectibles, and this first time round instead we can just speed run through it to get the speedrunning objective, mind you. Oh, I accidentally pressed no right there. Apparently B also accepts. I was trying to skip over this here unnecessary deep stew, but unfortunately the game said no. So now we've got to, you know, get ready to get going here, Chief.
Okay, let's see what this baby can do.
Yeah, this commentary is quite something. I'm sure you would rather even hear rather than my commentary just for clicks of my Xbox controller. I mean, listen to that. It has an awfully loud click, even for an Xbox 360 controller. There's clearly, you know, something wrong with these buttons. Not only do they not feel right, but they don't sound right with their clickiness either. And believe me, I know a thing or two about how buttons on video game controllers should feel, because for those of you who don't know, My profession is testing custom video game controllers made by a company known as Scuff Gaming. I just test for controllers cosmetically, as well as I make sure all the buttons actually work within the game. Because if they don't, obviously something's up with the flex or the board. And either way, whenever a fault is found, either cosmetically or digitally with a controller, then it's sent off to repairs and they repair it up and send it back for us to retest and ensure that everything is alright. So it's effectively quality control so that we can make sure the controllers are up to snuff before they're shipped off to the customers, mind you. So in other words, I know a thing or two about how controllers should feel. I literally test them for a living. Anyway, we now have the Lower Reach. Well, I think that was what the name of the area was called, so I wasn't really paying enough attention, really. With that being said, now let's be opening up this gate right here. Flying on through with our speedrunning skill. And a boom, baby. Destroy not only the Joe, but that frickin' waltzed in my way as well. Anyway, here comes the spikes, which, you know, deal damage to me on the way back down as well as the way up. But you know, for the sake of 10 damage, I'd rather just speedrun through things because it's not exactly like 10 damage is going to kill me off. Not when I have 560 of those damage points that I could take. After all, that's what HP is, your health points, and your health points are decreased when you get hit, but getting hit for 10 is very minimal. It's all going as far to say right here, even if I'm not saying it all that well, mind you. Anyway, time for us to destroy all these walls that are standing in my way. Well, at least they were, but standing in my way, they are no more. Okay, here we go. More evil drones to be dealing with, but, you know, why would I fight enemies that don't need to be fought? This is speedrun for Pete's sake. You know, the idea is to go fast and all that, and defeating enemies that don't need to be defeated is not quite going as fast as you could be going, one would admit. Anyway, these guys have got to go. Boom, just like that. And now we're going to pick up that chicken! As we continue on right here. One thing I love about Sonic Boom's path that she's down right now is that every time she screeches, she creates like an extra little shockwave of screech, which has a really nice pattern to it. It looks rather flower-like, and it's just a nice aesthetic, you know, a great attention to detail. Goes to show that in this game they really even poured their heart and soul out for every single one of these incredible characters. Anyway, let's bring out one of my babies for Sonic Boom being the first ever Skylander to really fight as a family. You know, sure, Bad Juju followed in those footsteps, but ultimately Bad Juju was just a wannabe Sonic Boom, let's be honest. With that being said, we've now rebuilt the bridge, and the eternal air source has been exposed to us. So now what we need to do is move on up and acquire it. Aha. With a windbag Genie, a rather interesting name that on. But on that note, let's kill it. It looked at me funny, so the solution is just to kill it. Everyone knows when something looks at you funny, it deserves the right to be destroyed. That's just how looking at people funny works, so you know. It's like opinions, you know, opinions have a very set way of them working, and there's no other way to prove so otherwise, because with opinions, if your opinion differs to mine, then it's wrong, because again, that's how opinions work. I don't make up rules, I just enforce them. Anyway, I was about to say let's be flying through these, but now we gotta wait for the frickin' spikes to do their thing. Anyway, with that being said done, it's time to take down some fools up here in the final combat section before we finally earn ourselves that eternal air source, mind you. Oh man, I almost feel sorry for the absolute annihilation these guys are going through right now, but almost doesn't count now, does it? Boom, baby. Haha, just like that. Okay, let's charge up our screecher out here. Boom! And unleash it, just as easy as that. Yeah, Sonic Boom, she's kind of like really good. I mean, who else would absolutely annihilate a level with as much ease as this, mind you? Most of the characters in this game, sure, but that doesn't take away from how great Sonic Boom can be, and as you can see, we have indeed got that cleared objective for the speedrun, and we also got the enemy goal, unintentionally might I add, but as for literally all of the collectibles in the areas, you know, we're going to have to come back here at a later date when we can unlock that life gate. and just go through and 100% everything. Regardless, like I said earlier, we are going to be skipping over cutscenes. This isn't made for the cinematicness of the game, because instead that's where the Igniter run comes in. But what we're going to do next is we're actually going to load up the Dragon's Peak and adventure to that level, so we can unlock our first fire Skylander, Sunburn, before we head out for Autospot Island, since that's going to have a fire gate. So going into it with Sunburn to have the ability to open up said gate, it sure would be convenient. And on top of that, the Dragon's Peak, the only elemental gate stopping us from 100% it is an air gate. And, you know, that is very much Sonic Boom's element. So we can 100% this level, as well as earn ourselves a brand new soul gem. There is no reason to not tackle it, for a lack of a better way of putting it. Anyway, we now have Persephone's exposition dump on winged sapphires, everyone's favourite exposition dump in the entirety of exposition dumps, and that comes without a hint of sarcasm or shadow of doubt. I get that the winged sapphire likes to say hello, but I'd rather say goodbye so I can get to the Dragon's Peak already. I mean, I don't even know why I collected that winged sapphire, because, like, it's not exactly that Skylanders are requiring of upgrades throughout this series. As you can tell with Sonic Boom, you know, there's no limitations as to me needing to reset characters. I can just pick up a soul gem, unlock a character by having found their soul. Their soul has been seeked. You could even go as far to say. We're going to take Dragon's Peak off the portal now. And with that, you know, in other words, once the Skylanders unlocked, I can just use their full capabilities at level 10 and fully upgradedness, which probably isn't worth it, is now because I said so. Again, that's just how the rules go. I don't make up the rules, I just enforce them. Otherwise, we got a Boom Fiend right here. You know what I got, Boom Fiend? I got babies! Oh, yeah. But yeah, now I remember why I picked up Winged Sapphire, because some idiot said he needs to 100% this game before we even think about tackling the final Chaos boss fight. And the Winged Sapphires, as far as I'm concerned, they're going to count towards 100%, as are all of the accolades, which is why we take ownership of the characters when we place them onto the portal after having unlocked them from acquiring or seeking out their souls. You could go as far to say even through their soul gems. Anyway, I really wish I could skip over Ramsey's deep stew right now, but unfortunately that's asking too much. What's funny though is that most of the Forgotten Skylanders have their soul gems very early in the game, so it's going to be the Forgotten characters that we wind up unlocking first and foremost. And it's not like we have enough Forgotten locks on the entirety of YouTube as is. It's not like Skylander Gamer TV and Crash for Skylanders are already, you know, creating locks with those characters as the themes behind them. You know, it's not like that's the situation at all. Again, without a hint of sarcasm or shadow of doubt, which might just wind up becoming the title at this rate, given how much I'm saying it. Okay. Plenty of pots and pans. You know, I really want to destroy them. And by pots and pans, I mean vases. In what universe does a vase look anything like pots and pans? What idiot has the minute amount of brain cells to get the two of them confused? This idiot. That's right. I'm that guy. I'm also that guy who's going to call in our fellow dragon friend right here, who I can't remember the name of. I know there's Vafek, he's a villain in this level, which is rather disappointing, for the sheer reason that we only ever fight his minions. We don't fight him in and of itself, which is really unfortunate, because that could have been a really epic boss fight. Anyway, I should really stop getting hit by, you know, everything. Otherwise, you know, this guy's just going to crash and it's going to be very inconvenient. Okay, now let's be fireballing up that mine right now. Yeah, these sections really do bring the pace enough level to an absolute crawl, because they're slow and tedious and I hate them. It's rather unfortunate, but luckily they are over and done with quite quickly. And where we just came from looks like it was just a few feet away, so why do we go through that entire, like, flight section when our destination was as close as that, mind you? You know, the distance in this level makes no logical sense, but then again, Skylanders has never cared about logic, so I should start here. Either way, if I wind up starting a topic and then not finishing it because it just kind of like leaves my mind, my apologies about that, but my mind just wanders everywhere, so please excuse the amount of unfinished topics I'm going to have throughout the entirety of this series. Anyway, is there any collectibles around here? I'm less familiar with the Dragon's Peak in terms of its collectible locations, but luckily for me, I didn't rush ahead and I found a story scroll thanks to it all. So for Dragon's Peak story scroll in and of itself, which we're just going to skip over because, again, you know, why should we need to listen to something so story driven when we're skipping over all of the story elements that have been seen time and time again? So there's no point in, you know, experiencing it all again and again. Man, this commentary is nuts, but that's my charisma, quote unquote, for you. You know, I'm very much high energy. I just keep yelling and talking as fast and with as much energy as possible in hopes that you don't get bored. You know, that's me for you. My charisma. Because my charisma is unparalleled, you know. Other SkyTubers wish they were as charismatic as me. And I'm very humble about my skills of charisma as well. Very humble about it. You know, you'd never see a more humble SkyTuber based on his raw awesomeness than yours truly before you. Anyway, we now have ourselves a Dragonette. It looks at me funny, so you know how it goes. We have to destroy it for looking at me funny. You think people would learn not to look at me funny at this point, but you'd be wrong. What's funny is that these are just reskins of enemies found in for life levels in this game. You know, Treetop Terrace and Fallen Forest. Of course, we're playing this level much earlier than those levels, but that's not going to matter much. You know, case in point, they're literally just reskins of those enemies. You know, they retextured them so them rather than them being yellow and black, instead now they're blue and green. But hey, they're still enemies all the same. Who cares if the game cuts corners? It's a great game, all things being said, so I can't really nitpick the heck out of it. I can't take the fun out of such a legendary game. Anyway, we've got to head up this way. It's like some ancient obstacle course, and I love that. Okay. Watch out for Sapphire. That's the last way we want to lose Sonic Boom. You know, if we lose Sonic Boom here, then, you know, the entirety of the Soul Seeker series would be lost because our only unlocked Skylander would be defeated and class as dead. Anyway, got to wait for those. There we are. Okay, I did hit this thing, right? Yeah, I'm pretty extra sure that I did. Okay, that means we can hop back on over here. Because now that means that this block's been destroyed. We're gonna risk it and go in front of that flamethrower thingamabob. Oh, and that one too, I guess. Anyway, where is literally everything that we need? Where is the bomb? It's not back here, clearly. Oh, the bomb is back up there. I see it now. Yeah, you guys can tell my lack of experience with this area, mostly because I think I've played for Dragon's Peak Adventure Pack level all of 3 times. It's just not that interesting of level to me, so I don't feel the need to constantly replay it. Anyway, now that we have all of these bounce pads and availability to us, we should be able to get over to that area with ease. Boom, baby! Okay, there's the key that we need in order to gain access to the hat. Okay, let's go. Sweet, we just barely missed the flamethrowers. That was a high risk, very low reward. So why the heck I do it, I don't know. Because that's the whole idea of these whole, you know, Skylander class is dead, defeated scenarios. To take minimal risks, because then you're high rewarded as you don't lose your characters. Anyway, speaking of minimal risk, we're going to wait for these flamethrowers to finish with their business before we go anywhere near them. They kind of like, you know, seared my beak for a moment there, but searing my beak isn't enough to deal damage to me, fortunately enough. And I keep saying me like I am Sonic Boom, even though I'm not Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom is Sonic Boom. I'm just playing as Sonic Boom, who is now going to be acquiring a hat. Now I'm going to be unlocking an achievement. Fashion Stylist. How sweet. Anyway, watch out for those flamethrowers again. Okay, let's get out of here. No jump button. Ha! No problem. We can still get out of here without any troubles. But yeah, the fact that this game doesn't have a jump button is what makes, you know, obstacle course type areas like that all the more well designed. You know, the fact that you have to find other methods in which to platform is just truly, truly clever. Anyway, there's a bounce pad back here. I just kind of saw it out the corner of my eye. So we're going to be flying once more, which I assume is going to be the location of the next collectible. At least that's what I'm hoping anyway. And in making that assumption, I'm also hoping that that did not make an ass out of me. I'm hoping we get Sunburn's Soul Gem sooner rather than later, because I really want more characters to play as, even though I have no problems playing with Sonic Boom. I would happily server in this game with her, so, you know. Either way works, I suppose. It's a win-win for me, either way. So much so that I'm saying either way twice just to put emphasis on it, because everyone knows that through repetition, you're putting emphasis on the very thing you are repeating. Okay, here we go with more enemies. Luckily, they are no trouble for Sonic Boom at all. Oh, for Spikes on the other hand, you know, I think they most certainly will be. So we just got to wait for the platform to continue spinning around. And again, generate our own form of platforming thanks to the excellent design that takes advantage of the fact that you can't jump in this game. You know, that's what makes the level design in this game for more unique. And it's why I prefer a lot of these levels to the later levels in the Skylanders franchise that just shoehorn in the platforming mechanics, it feels like. Anyway, here we go back on our Red Dragon himself, originally what was going to be Spyro's colour. At least in Spyro's Kingdom it was anyway, because Spyro's Kingdom, for those of you who don't know, was the game that came before Skylanders Spyro's Adventure. A few of the characters actually transferred over from Spyro's Kingdom to Skylanders, that being Boomer, Ghost Roaster, Bash. Who was the last one? Boomer, Ghost Roaster, Bash. And then there was a red version of Spyro who was going to be playable, but that later went on to become Hot Flash, which was renamed to Sunburn. And then Spyro maintained his purple colour being placed into the magic element, even though he was originally planned to be a fire elemental character, but they realised that his purple colour palette didn't really blend in well with the rest of the fire element. They also wanted Spyro to be the only purple Skylander of the original 32 cast, which is why when they made Tarklops, who was again a Spyro's Kingdom character, the only one of the Spyro's Kingdom characters to not be included in the final game. Regardless, Tarklops was also purple at one point, but they scrapped the entirety of Tarklops' design because it was too basic and didn't make for a very detailed figurine. So instead they gave his moveset to Zap, and Zap was of course of the water element. But yeah, case in point, that made Spyro the only purple dragon, and magic is really conceived as like the special penultimate element in this game. You know, magic is treated as something like above all of the other elements, and so they wanted to make Spyro feel that little bit extra special, and so they gave him the extra special element, in other words. So he's purple, he blends in well with the rest of the magic cast, and him being magic in and of itself emphasises the specialness of Spyro. Yes, that's what came before Spyro's Adventure, Spyro's Kingdom. A few characters translated over. And the main reason why they made the jump from Spyro's Kingdom to Spyro's Adventure is, first of all, because in Spyro's Kingdom, Spyro was going to be an NPC who set quests for you. So you didn't even play as Spyro in that title. That was originally planned. But then on top of all that, 3D printing was a brand new technology that developers wanted to take advantage of, bearing in mind that Spyro's Adventure started development in 2008, back when of course said 3D printing technology was first being introduced. So instead they decided to make a toy line out of everything so that then they could capitalise off 3D printing and effectively increase upon their profits, because not only are they selling you the game itself, but they're also selling you the 32 characters that, you know, are playable alongside it. Yeah, it's a genius marketing tool, really. Why do you think other developers and companies followed in their footsteps? Disney Infinity, LEGO Dimensions, Amiibo, all of that would not exist if not for the success that Skylanders originally generated. But yeah, we've taken quite a blast into the past, and this is the debut episode we're talking about here. You don't get more glorious an intro than this. You know, a 30-minute intro of raw chaos, and that's how we're going to be kicking off Soul Seekers. But yes, for those of you curious even as to whether I'm going to be tackling all the other games, I'm going to be tackling every single game in a Soul Seekers format even, with the exception of Superchargers, purely because Superchargers, for whether or not you earn the Soul Gems in that game, is up to complete and utter randomness. So the fact that you don't really route your way around the game and you unlock a random character at a random interval just makes the whole thing far less exciting. Not to mention what happens with, of course, these first Soul Gems is that I have to play up to the point in the game to where I can acquire the very first Soul Gem in the game. For Giants, that's actually Hot Dog on the 3rd level, because Shroom Boom is stuck behind a Giants portion that, of course, technically you can't gain access to without a Giant, and the same is said for Hothead in the 2nd level of the game. So yeah, so you actually have to play up to that point. And in Superchargers, I could play through half of the game until I get up to the first Soul Gem in order to start the series from that point in time. You know, I've got to get up to a point in time where the first Soul Gem is available. But speaking of Soul Gems, we have now unlocked Sunburn by seeking out his Soul Gem. Soul Seekers for the win! Am I right? Anyway, we are going to be, once we settle down, mind you, finishing the episode here. So yes, in conclusion, this is going to be one blast of a series, to say the absolute minimal. We are going to be going through 100% in this game, and all of the original 32 Skylanders are locked until I have found their soul gems, where of course, by seeking out their soul, I have unlocked said locked characters, and they will of course be brightened up on the display to the top right. Now, with that all being said and done, this video is coming to an end, but before that happens, I first want to thank all my Blazing Knights and Scorpion Dragons whose support allow me to continue pumping out quality videos like this one. Without them, this all wouldn't be possible. Therefore, I genuinely appreciate every last one of you from the bottom of my heart. If you enjoyed this video, I have others you can watch by clicking on screen now, and you can even subscribe by pressing the button on the bottom right hand corner of the screen. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next one, but until that moment arises, peace!